Welcome to our latest update on the most pressing issues happening around the globe. I'm Anderson Cooper, and here's what you need to know today. We're tracking a confluence of events across the United States that paint a picture of a nation grappling with multiple crises simultaneously. From the persistent shadow of a global pandemic evolving yet again, to the resurgence of preventable diseases, and the raw, destructive power of nature unleashing its fury, the challenges are multifaceted and deeply impactful. Communities are being tested, and the resilience of the American spirit is once more in the spotlight. Beyond the immediate threats to health and safety, we're also witnessing significant social and economic undercurrents. Voices of dissent are rising in cities nationwide as citizens exercise their right to protest, bringing to the forefront critical debates about the country's direction and its core values. These demonstrations reflect a deeply engaged populace, eager to make their concerns heard on a national stage. The sheer scale and breadth of these protests indicate a period of significant societal reflection, and in some cases profound disagreement over policy and principle. And as if these domestic challenges weren't enough, international trade policies are creating unexpected ripples, affecting industries in ways that touch everyday lives and cultural expressions. The intricate web of global economics means decisions made in one arena can have far-reaching and sometimes unforeseen consequences. We'll delve into each of these stories, providing the context and details you need to understand the complex tapestry of events unfolding. It's a critical time, and staying informed is more important than ever. The fight against COVID-19 continues to evolve, and health officials are once again adapting their strategies to combat new iterations of the virus. The Food and Drug Administration is currently in deep consideration regarding a new vaccine formula. This potential shift is driven by the emergence and rapid spread of the LP 8.1 variant, a subvariant of Omicron that has quickly become the dominant strain across the United States. Current data indicates that this particular variant now accounts for a staggering 70% of all new COVID-19 infections nationwide, a testament to its transmissibility and its ability to evade previous immune responses. This development underscores the persistent nature of the SARS-CoV-2 virus and the ongoing need for vigilance and scientific innovation. The FDA's deliberations will weigh the efficacy of existing vaccines against this new dominant strain, and consider whether a reformulated booster shot specifically targeting LP 8.1, would offer enhanced protection to the public. Scientists and researchers are working tirelessly to understand the specific mutations of LP 8.1 and how they might impact vaccine effectiveness and disease severity. The goal, as always, is to stay one step ahead, or at least keep pace with the virus's relentless adaptation. For the American public, this means the conversation around COVID-19 is far from over. Decisions made by the FDA in the coming weeks could shape public health guidance for the fall and winter seasons, traditionally a period of increased respiratory virus transmission. The potential rollout of a new vaccine formula would involve significant logistical planning, public awareness campaigns, and a renewed call for citizens to consider their vaccination status. We are reminded, yet again, that this pandemic requires a dynamic and responsive approach from both our scientific community and the public at large. We're seeing a deeply concerning resurgence of measles, a highly contagious and potentially deadly disease that was once declared eliminated in the United States. Official reports indicate that over 860 cases of measles have now been confirmed across a 4-state region encompassing Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Kansas. This outbreak is a stark reminder of the critical importance of widespread vaccination. The situation is particularly grave as health authorities have confirmed 3 deaths directly attributable to this measles outbreak, a tragic loss of life from a disease that is largely preventable through routine childhood immunizations. Emergency response efforts are being rapidly mobilized in the affected states. Public health officials are working around the clock to conduct contact tracing, identify and isolate new cases, and ramp up vaccination campaigns, particularly in communities with lower immunization rates. The challenge is immense, as measles can spread incredibly quickly through the air when an infected person coughs or sneezes, putting unvaccinated individuals at high risk. Hospitals and clinics in the region are on high alert, preparing for a potential increase in patients requiring care for measles and its complications, which can include pneumonia, encephalitis, and severe dehydration. This outbreak serves as a critical public health wake-up call. Decades of successful vaccination programs had made measles a rare occurrence in the U.S., but pockets of vaccine hesitancy and declining immunization coverage have created vulnerabilities. Health experts are emphasizing that the measles vaccine is safe and highly effective, and they are urging parents to ensure their children are up to date on their MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella shots. The current crisis highlights the collective responsibility we share in maintaining community immunity, often referred to as herd immunity, to protect not only ourselves but also the most vulnerable among us. The sheer destructive power of nature was on full display last week as a terrifying outbreak of tornadoes swept across parts of the Midwest and South. Between May 15th and 16th, a relentless barrage of severe weather spawned more than 50 confirmed tornadoes. The states bearing the brunt of this violent onslaught were Kentucky, Missouri, and Illinois, where communities were irrevocably altered in a matter of minutes. The human cost has been devastating, with authorities now reporting a tragic total of 28 deaths as a direct result of these powerful twisters. Our hearts go out to the families grappling with such profound loss. The scale of the damage is immense, stretching across multiple counties and leaving behind scenes of utter devastation. Homes were ripped from their foundations, businesses were flattened, and critical infrastructure, including power lines and roads, suffered extensive damage. First responders and emergency crews launched into immediate action, conducting search and rescue operations in treacherous conditions, often sifting through debris in the desperate hope of finding survivors. The stories emerging from these affected areas speak of both terror and heroism, as neighbors helped neighbors and communities began the long and arduous process of picking up the pieces. Now, in the aftermath, the focus shifts to recovery and rebuilding, a monumental task that will take months, if not years. Federal and state aid is being mobilized, but the emotional and physical scars will linger. Meteorologists are analyzing the atmospheric conditions that led to such a significant tornado outbreak, looking for patterns and insights that could improve future warnings. This event is a stark reminder of the vulnerability of even well-prepared communities to extreme weather phenomena, and it underscores the importance of heeding weather alerts and having emergency plans in place. The resilience of these communities will undoubtedly be tested in the days and weeks to come. While parts of the country reeled from tornadoes, the Mid-Atlantic region found itself battling another force of nature unprecedented flash flooding. A deluge of record-breaking rainfall inundated Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia, overwhelming drainage systems and turning streets into raging rivers. The sheer volume of water that fell in such a short period caught many by surprise, leading to dangerous and life-threatening situations. Tragically, authorities have confirmed at least one death as a result of these floods, a somber reminder of the power of rapidly rising waters. Emergency services were stretched to their limits as calls for help poured in. Dozens of water rescues were carried out, with brave first responders navigating treacherous currents to pull stranded individuals from submerged vehicles and flooded homes. The images emerging from the region are dramatic: cars almost entirely underwater, basements filled to the brim, and residents being evacuated by boat in their own neighborhoods. The infrastructure in many areas simply could not cope with the intensity of the downpour, highlighting vulnerabilities in urban planning and stormwater management systems when faced with such extreme precipitation events. The cleanup and damage assessment are now underway, and the full extent of the economic and personal losses is still being calculated. This event adds to a growing list of extreme weather incidents that scientists say are becoming more frequent and intense due to climate change. For the residents of the Mid-Atlantic, it's a harsh lesson in the changing climate reality and the urgent need for adaptation and mitigation strategies. The focus now is on supporting those affected, repairing the damage, and critically examining how to better prepare for such deluges in the future, as weather patterns continue to become more unpredictable and severe. The political landscape of the United States is currently marked by a significant wave of public dissent, with thousands taking to the streets in what is being called the 50501 movement. These widespread protests are primarily targeting policies enacted or proposed by the Trump administration, with a particular focus on issues surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI initiatives, LGBTQ+ rights, and immigration policies. Demonstrators are voicing strong opposition, arguing that these policies are discriminatory, harmful, and roll back decades of progress in civil rights and social justice. The 50501 moniker itself appears to be a rallying cry, though its specific origins are still being explored by observers. The scale of these demonstrations is notable. Major cities across the country have seen large gatherings, with protesters carrying signs, chanting slogans, and demanding policy changes. Beyond the 50501 movement, the 1st of May, traditionally International Workers' Day, also saw a surge in protest activity. Over 1,000 separate demonstrations were reported on May Day alone, many of which echoed the concerns of the 50501 movement, but also included broader labor rights issues. This confluence of protest activity indicates a deeply energized and concerned segment of the population, willing to mobilize and make their voices heard in a very public way. These protests are not just fleeting moments of anger, they represent a sustained and organized effort to influence the national conversation and apply pressure on policymakers. The debates over DEI, LGBTQ+ rights and immigration are touching on fundamental questions about American identity, equality, and the future direction of the country. While the administration maintains its stance on these policies, the persistent and growing chorus of dissent highlights the deep divisions within American society. How these tensions resolve, and what impact these protests will have on the political calculus, remains a critical story to watch in the coming months. Beyond the immediate social and environmental crises, economic policies are also creating significant waves, and one industry feeling a particular pinch is the music world. President Trump's ongoing tariffs imposed on goods imported from China are having a direct and increasingly burdensome impact on musical instruments and equipment. Many components, and indeed entire instruments, are manufactured in China, and these new import duties are translating into higher costs for suppliers and ultimately, for consumers. This is a complex issue where geopolitical trade strategies are intersecting with cultural and artistic endeavors. The ripple effects are being felt across the entire music ecosystem. Retailers of musical instruments are facing a difficult choice: absorb the increased costs, which erodes their profit margins, or pass them on to customers, which can depress sales. Many are reporting shortages of certain items as supply chains adjust and import costs make some products less viable. For musicians, from students just starting out to seasoned professionals, this means the tools of their trade are becoming more expensive. This can create barriers to entry for aspiring artists, and add financial strain to those who make their living through music. This situation highlights how broad economic policies such as tariffs can have very specific and sometimes unintended consequences for niche industries. While the stated aim of the tariffs may be to address trade imbalances or protect domestic manufacturing, the reality on the ground for music store owners, instrument makers, and musicians is one of rising prices and increased uncertainty. The long-term impact on music education, performance, and the overall vibrancy of the music scene is a concern for many within the industry, who are now navigating these new economic headwinds. The events we've covered today paint a challenging picture, a nation grappling with a multitude of serious issues on various fronts. From the ongoing vigilance required by the COVID-19 pandemic and the heartbreaking resurgence of measles, to the devastating power of tornadoes and floods, the resilience of American communities is being profoundly tested. These natural and public health crises demand not only immediate response, but also long-term strategies for preparedness and adaptation in an ever-changing world. The human spirit, however, consistently demonstrates a remarkable capacity to endure and rebuild. Simultaneously, the social and political fabric of the country is experiencing its own form of turbulence. The widespread protests exemplified by the 50501 movement underscore deep societal divisions and a passionate engagement with the nation's core values and future direction. Coupled with the economic repercussions of trade policies such as the tariffs affecting the music industry, it's clear that the challenges are interconnected and complex. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for every citizen as we navigate these uncertain times together. It's a period that calls for empathy, for critical thinking, and for a commitment to staying informed. The stories we've shared are not just headlines. They represent real people, real communities, and real consequences. We will continue to follow these developments closely, bringing you the facts and context you need. That's all for today's update. Stay tuned for more news and stay safe. I'm Anderson Cooper, signing off.